Viewers, welcome back to the show. Before the break, as I indicated, we'll be dealing with a very special guest. He's Professor John Dixon. Good evening, Professor.
Hi, Tony.
The Professor is a world-leading obesity physician and researcher and works out of a Baker Institute. Tell us what you do, Professor.
Well, most of my work is related to obesity research. I'm interested in the issues and problems of people who are obese, particularly the more severe forms of obesity and those that have multiple complex problems. And we look at all sorts of aspects of it, what causes it, how we treat it, and particularly how we best look after patients with it. And that's what we do at our clinic. We try and assess people and give them the options for treatment that are available.
Nunzio, would it surprise you that by the year 2025, the statistics are showing that 80% of our population will be obese, and with children, at least 20% will be obese?
Look, Tony, that would actually surprise me, and that's what I was going to touch on with the Professor. What's the going trend of obesity in the country? Where's it leading? And, you know, what's the research showing at this stage?
Well, sadly, the majority of Australians are overweight or obese at the moment, particularly a little bit more in men. About a quarter of our adult population are obese. And what happens as more and more become obese, we see many more in the extreme obese range. And a little known fact is that the extreme obese range is dominated by women. While we've got more overweight and about the same number of obese Australians, the very big Australians are predominantly women. And it's not well known.
And Nunzio, what's the definition of obese?
Well, look. Just to put it in simple layman's terms, I would just say, you know, severely overweight. That's the way I would look at it. But
actually, there's a formula. Can you tell us what the formula is?
We use the body mass index, and a body mass index is your weight in kilograms divided by your height in metres squared. And normal body mass index is around 20 to 25, overweight 25 to 30, and obese is 30 plus.
30 and over. So effectively, plus. Viewers, if you've got more than 30 kilos, what your recommended weight should be, you're considered obese. Is that correct?
More than that calculated. Basically, it's going for most women, it's going to be a weight over about 75, 80 kilos. For men, it's going to be in the area of 100 or 95 to 100 kilos that you will be in the obese range. But you need to calculate it out.
Professor, why is the rates growing and increasing at an alarming rate by the sounds of it? Why is it? What do you put it down to?
Well, this is a global catastrophe. It's as bad in Asia as it is. It's worse in Asia than here, and we're seeing developed countries. It's an epidemic. And we're very naively putting it down to issues of food, issues of lack of exercise, and while we watch this happening, there's a lot more happening. We believe very strongly now that the most important 4 years of any person's life, as to whether they're going to become obese or not, is the first 4 years, is the 4 years up to the person's 3rd birthday. So we've got a real problem. It's driven from genetics, it's driven from pregnancy,
so young, yeah.
And so forth. Yeah. So when we're looking at adults with a problem, we're going to say, well, what can we do now? And that's what we're saying.
Nunzio, what are some of the problems that you think come from this issue of being overweight?
Oh, well, look, I think, you know, society's working, I think, a lot harder, so there's a lot more demands on people's life, and we're not getting the time to, I suppose, have that healthy, balanced lifestyle.
But you've got your blood pressure issues.
Yeah.
You've got diabetes, which is one of the 3 major killers, isn't it, Doc?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You've got strokes, heart attacks.
Yes.
And diabetes.
Yes. And you've left one out.
What's
cancer.
Cancer.
A whole string of cancers increase dramatically with weight.
Okay.
So the big killers, cardiovascular disease, cancer, diabetes. We've got the lot.
Okay. And Nunzio, if you're overweight, the thing that it does is it attacks your blood system in terms of blood pressure. It can lead to cancers, as the doctor's indicated. It can also lead to cirrhosis of the liver because you get a fatty liver. What else, Doc?
Well, there's a whole range of problems, but we also find that it produces incredible disability and poor quality of life, and is associated, when people get bigger, with high levels of depression. women know there are issues with infertility. It's the commonest cause of infertility and through polycystic ovary syndrome. So many of people attending IVF clinics around the country have obesity problems.
So what should be done, Professor, to stop this epidemic, as you call it?
Well, I think the first thing is for us all to recognise that it's an epidemic, that we do not understand it as well as we naively think we do, that the reasons why it's there are complex. It involves all sorts of aspects of our society, not just the food industry and not just exercise, and that we need to do some serious things at all levels of our community to make some changes. Unfortunately, prevention has struggled. We've got no good preventative mechanisms, and in addition to that, we should respect the people who have severer forms of this condition, a severe obesity, and we should look after them. We should give them the best possible care that we can give and drive better treatments, just as we do for diabetes or heart disease.
And Alfredis to Nunzio, one of the problems is that people are starting to exercise more, I think. They're starting to watch what they eat. Is it mainly an eating issue, Nunz?
Look, I think, you know, again, I would think it's more of an eating issue and also having, I suppose, a physical aspect to your life and you know, having some activity and exercising. I just don't think that's probably happening enough. Would that be correct,
Doc,
Professor?
I want to throw something to Doc. Doc, a good friend of mine who does 7 days a week in the gym, spinning classes, you name it, the whole box and dice, said to me, 70% of the weight is to do with what you eat and 30% is exercise. Would you agree with that?
No. You see, what we're really saying is that that much of the trajectory, given our environment today, much of what you're going to be is determined by the age of 3. So that the people who, they can watch their diet all they like, they can exercise all they like, they can look after themselves and still have a problem with weight. And there's many of you out there know that you're doing all the right things and it's not working. So we've got to think of other causes in our environment.
So what you're saying basically,
education,
basically the parents who have obviously got newborns is where the education should be coming from.
Absolutely.
They've got to, that 0 to 3 brackets.
Absolutely. We're going to prevent, we're going to get to those mothers and those families before they're thinking of having a child. We're going to stop the smoking at that point. We're going to talk to them about nutrition during pregnancy, and we're going to talk to them about how to nourish their newborn baby for those first few years of life.
And Doc, without making it too simplistic, it's a case of them shoving too much food down the child's throat.
It may be that. But it may be the wrong foods. It may be what to use and when. You see, parents planning a family really want to do the right thing by their children. It's a very important time to act, and they want to do the right thing, and we have to provide the guidance to allow them to do the right thing.
Viewers, we're going to have to go to a break, but before the break, please forward to us your Facebook and Twitter comments. It's a very interesting topic. You might want to direct something at the Professor, and we'll see if we can answer it in the future episodes. But also, after the break, we're going to go to a very interesting decision that occurred in New South Wales to do with a very over-obese fellow who won his case, but the case is on appeal. So stay tuned.